everyone, it's Becca from Becca Books and Bujo, and it is time to start my Goodreads Choice Awards reading vlog. So if you did not watch my reaction to the opening round nominee announcement, I will link that up above, and I would invite you to check it out. I go through all of the categories that Goodreads announced as their nominees for the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I told you some of my thoughts and which ones I would possibly vote for in a category. But then I also decided for a project that I would try to read all of the Goodreads Choice Awards nominees that I have on my physical TBR, that I own, that I have not read. And so that ended up being 5 books. I have my Kindle here because 2 of them are actually Kindle books that I own. And I'm going to document me reading these, and then also possibly some Goodreads voting along the way, maybe a reaction to who won all of the categories, depending on how long this vlog takes me. Reading these 5 books plus all of my other books that I want to read by the end of the year. Who knows how long it could take. So let's just quickly introduce all of the books and then we'll get into reading. So the first one here on my Kindle is The Maid's Diary by Lorith Ann White. This was nominated for the mystery thriller category, and I believe that this gained fame through Kindle, or KU, I should say. And so a lot of KU readers read it and loved it, and I think it's a domestic thriller. I tend to like domestic thrillers, so this could work for me. And then the other one on my Kindle is In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. Now we all know Rebecca Yarros from Fourth Wing fame, but she is also a romance writer and came out with this book this year as well. She's crazy. Crazy, amazing. And so this one, I believe, is a romance that takes place on a plane? Question mark. There's a plane on the wing, so that's just making assumptions. So that's great. A romance that I need to read. Then, let's see. I believe this one, The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young, was nominated in the fantasy category. And I've heard that maybe that's not the greatest category for it because it is more literary / magical realism. And so fantasy readers don't really like seeing this in the fantasy category. Me, who isn't big into fantasy, I like seeing this in the fantasy category because I want to read it. And magical realism is more my forte in the fantasy category. So this one, it says, a woman risks everything to end her family's centuries-old curse, solve her mother's disappearance, and find love in this mesmerizing novel from the best-selling author of Spells for Forgetting. So I believe that this is her second, or no, she has many, like, young adult works. Fable, the Fable series, and the Sky and Sea duology. So I'm excited about this one. This was a little stretch for me getting it from Book of the Month, but nevertheless, excited. And then this one I think was just in the fiction category, the general fiction, Evil Eye by Itaf Rum. This is the same author as A Woman Is No Man, also a Palestinian author, and so love that, especially with everything going on right now. The acclaimed best-selling author of A Woman Is No Man returns with a striking exploration of the world of a Palestinian-American woman, the meaning of a fulfilling life, and the ways our unresolved past affects our present. I'm excited. Didn't think I'd get to this one this quickly after getting it in September, but I'm going to, hopefully. And then the last one, I believe, was nominated in historical fiction and debut. This is Weyward by Amelia Hart. It is indeed historical fiction, but I think there's 3 different timelines. Yeah, 2019, 1619, and 1942. And it is 3 women who are witches, and they all have this magical house in common. So this one I am really excited for, but I've heard kind of mixed reviews. So these are the books I'll be reading for the next few weeks. Let's get reading. I am about 33% of the way through In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. That's about 115 pages in, and I'm really enjoying the story. We have Nathaniel, who is in the army and in the special forces trying to protect people.
Show them the Christmas tree.
Oh, okay. tried to protect people in Afghanistan. And then we have our female character, Isabeau. Nathaniel calls her Izzy. In her later life, she's Isa. And she is one of the people that he needs to protect in Afghanistan, but they have a past. They first met 10 years prior on an airplane that crashed. And they kind of, yeah, an airplane that crashed. And that kind of solidified their paths together. They always felt connected because of this tragedy that they went through, this trauma that occurred in their lives. And so we are jumping between two timelines, 2011 when the plane crashed, and then 2021 when they are reunited. Something happened in their past that kept them from being together, but we don't really know what. And so we're jumping back and forth, kind of getting snippets of what caused them to separate. I don't think they were ever officially together, but they have each called themselves, or called the other, the love of their life. So obviously there is love there, or definitely feelings of some kind. But we just haven't gotten to any of that yet, any of the steaminess. I assume there will be, I don't know, in a romance. Especially, I've heard that Fourth Wing is pretty steamy by this author. So anyway, I'm enjoying it. I really am intrigued about finding out what happened to this couple in the past. I was really, it was really thrilling to read when the plane crash was happening and how they escaped and everything, and Nathaniel was just kind of this big hero of everyone on the plane. So I can understand why Izzy would feel attracted to him. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. I'm really enjoying it. The one critique I do have is about the writing, and there are some times where she jumps from like A to B without any explanation, and it just seems like you're supposed to understand where she's saying. Like, continuity is a little bit of an issue. So Theodore's gonna watch The Polar Express. That's been his favorite Christmas movie lately, and I am going to read more of this romance. I know I look really good right now, but I'm about to get in the bath and read more of In the Likely Event, and I'm 65% of the way through, and if I don't update you now, I don't think I will, because it's so intense and I just need to keep picking it up. So, let's see. It's intense in both timelines. In the past, we're like up to 2016 or 17 now, and Nathaniel and Izzy just keep meeting up spontaneously. Like, they keep seeing each other and getting to be more sexual tension between them, and then like things happen, which is super exciting, always fun. Great scenes to read on the couch when my children are around, if you know what I mean. Anyway, and then in the present time zone, they have gone on one of their daily like outings in Afghanistan. I don't think I said this before, but Izzy works for a senator, and this senator is really wanting to end the war in Afghanistan, and so Izzy is going to various places, various, I think they're called provinces, and trying to get people visas and help in some way. So, I don't really understand that bit, but I don't care to, because it's more about the romance for me. But something has just happened in the present time that is like bad war stuff, bad for Izzy and Nathaniel, but causing them to grow closer again. So we're loving that. Like I said, it's really hard to put down. All afternoon and evening when we were hanging out with the kids, I was like, I'm just gonna read a little bit on my Kindle while they're playing. Or like, I went into Mabel's room with her, and she sat in her little unicorn reading chair, and I sat in the rocking chair, and we just read our books together. Love it. Anyway, I'm gonna take a bath, read this book, and might finish it tonight. Who knows? It's super, super good. I'm curious, how many hours does it say I have left of reading? 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it's almost 10, so probably won't finish it tonight, but there's a good chance I'll get super far and have a closing update for you on In the Likely Event. As you saw, I finished In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros in the wee hours of the morning last night. I think it was like 12:15, and I can't believe I did that. That's the quickest I feel like I've read a physical book in a very long time, which means something. It was a really, really great book and definitely captivated me the whole way through. I'm giving it 5 stars. I loved it, and I feel like I might be in the minority. This morning, as soon as I woke up, I looked at the Goodreads to mark that I finished it and gave it 5 stars, and people were like, 1 star, this is horrible. How come Rebecca Yarros did this to Afghanistan? And I really think I am ignorant in knowing what went on in Afghanistan in 2021, and I take full responsibility for that. But I also just think I don't pay attention to the news as much as I should. Like, right now, I have listened to the daily podcast every day and heard updates about what's going on in Palestine and in Gaza, but I am freely admitting that I am ignorant in a lot of what is going on in the world. I don't know, there are things that I pay attention to in my life, and it's my kids and my job and reading books, and I know that may sound bad, but that's what I do. So I didn't really think about that as much in this book as much as the romance, and boy, oops, turned on the Kindle. Boy, did I love the romance. I really love old friends / lovers who have gone away from each other and then gotten back to each other, because I just love that history unfolding. The one I can think of is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This had 2 timelines similar to that, and you were figuring out what happened that led to them breaking things off in the past, and it was really, really good. So I loved it, and now I need to vote because I realized I forgot to vote in the first round of the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I don't know if this has changed my vote necessarily in the romance category, but let's again just go through and make sure I get my vote in. Yeah, we have 6 hours left in the opening round. So here we go. Like I said, I am voting for Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. Okay, I voted. Next category, historical fiction. For now, I will be voting for River Sing Me Home, but this vote could change if I read Weyward and like it more, and Weyward gets into the next round. Okay. Next up, Best Mystery and Thriller. I am voting for The River We Remember right now by William Kent Kruger, but again, could change if I like The Maid's Diary better and it makes it to the next round. I probably just need to stop saying that. Okay, here's where it's tricky. Best romance. I really, really loved Hello Stranger and Love Theoretically. And now I have to say I really, really loved In the Likely Event. I feel like it's because I'm coming off of a high of just reading In the Likely Event that I want to put it here. I think this is what I'm going to do. Because In the Likely Event is probably not going to make it into the next round because people don't like it so much, I'm going to show my love for it. So I'm going to vote for it. And maybe that is an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to do it. Okay, next category is romantasy, and I don't believe I've read any of these, so I'm skipping the romantasy category. And probably same with fantasy. Yep, skipping it. Although I am reading The Unmaking of June Farrow for this vlog. Hopefully it makes it to the next round so I can vote for it. Science fiction, I have not read any of those, so not voting. Horror, not read any of those, so not voting. Young adult fantasy, ugh, I do really, really want to read Divine Rivals, but I'm not planning on it. Young adult fiction, I haven't read any of these. No, I haven't. Although there are a couple I would like to, especially Ali Hazelwood's Check and Mate and Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. I am not voting for this one either. Debut novel, this one I definitely can vote for, and I think it will be for The Wishing Game. Oh, although, because I already voted for The Wishing Game in the fiction category, I'm going to give some love to The Collected Regrets of Clover. I was a little bit disappointed with that one, just because it wasn't as much as I wanted it to be, but I still loved what it had to say about grief and being with those as they are dying, and so I'm going to give some love to Mickey Bramer there. What's the next category? Nonfiction. This is one I hadn't read from, so we'll skip. Memoir and autobiography. I believe the only one I've read from is Spare, and I don't think I'm going to vote for it. I wish I had enough time to read the Britney Spears memoir. Maybe I do. I've heard it's a very short audiobook, but I'm not going to vote in the opening round, at least. Best history and biography. I haven't read any of them, although my sister's reading The Wager right now, and she said she really likes it. And humor, I don't think I've read any of these. So, my votes are in. Great. Now I need to figure out what book I'm reading next. I need a physical read next, so it'll probably either be, it'll probably be The Maid's Diary, which is another one on my Kindle and one that was nominated for the mystery thriller. And I'll be back on sometime soon to react to the next round of Who Made It. Into the second round, final round, whatever they call it, of the Goodreads Choice Awards. So, I will see you soon. I have been mega slacking on this Goodreads vlog, but I just got an email, luckily I saw it, that the voting closes for the final round of the Goodreads Choice Awards today. So, I thought I had until mid-December, but I am wrong. So, let's just quick vote. I haven't really even looked at these, like what made it, what didn't, so we'll see how long I can hold my arm like this. Might call in my husband for a little while. But, okay, so fiction round. We've got The Wishing Game, Hello Beautiful, Clover, Tom Lake, Pineapple Street, Someone Else's Shoes, Mommy. Oh no, Evil Eye didn't make the cut, which that's going to be one of my books that I need to read for this. But it hasn't happened yet. So I guess out of these, I am going to vote. Did I vote for The Wishing Game the first time? I'm going to vote for Yellowface. Okay, great. How do I go to the next? Best historical fiction. Did any that I read made it? Nope. And I can't even vote for Weyward because I haven't read it yet. I'm failing miserably. Okay, so we'll skip. Skip that category. Mystery thriller. Great. So The Maid's Diary that I'm reading for this category didn't make it, and I haven't read any of these others. Classic. Great. Okay, romance. I'm sure I have read these. Okay, so I'm a little bummed that what's it called? Hello Stranger didn't make it. I thought it would make it to this next round, but I guess people didn't like it like I did. So I am voting for Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Alright, romantasy. Nope. Fantasy. The Unmaking of June Farrow. Still in here, but I haven't read it yet. Failing miserably. Okay. Science fiction. I don't think I have any. Nope. Horror. don't have any there either. I'm not surprised by the ones I'm seeing get into this final round in all the categories. But I think I am maybe done voting. Oh, debut. And out of these, the only one I've read is The Wishing Game, so I'll vote for that. It was great, debut novel. Okay, oops, skipping right past this. Best nonfiction. Butts made it. Way to go, Butts. Haven't read any of those. Dang it, I wish I had had the time to read The Woman in Me, but I didn't. That's probably what I would have voted for. Pass. And then history and biography. Nope. And best humor, no. Haven't read any of them. So that was a little bit disappointing on my part. I did a bad job of not reading them in time to actually vote. But we'll see what wins, and we'll see if the books that I will read would have been better for any of those categories that I think. Okay, I will jump back on here when I actually read something. I am just about 100 pages through Weyward, which is a third of the way through, and this was nominated for the historical fiction category. And now I think I know it won the historical fiction category. So I'm enjoying it so far. We are following 3 different perspectives from 3 women in this same family, the Weyward family, which we find out on the very first page that from a Shakespeare poem, well, from Macbeth, it said Weyward was replaced by the word weird. And so these are the weird women of the Weyward family. So we follow Kate. Yeah, Kate in 2019, who is trying to escape an abusive relationship. And she needs to get out, obviously, because she's been dealing with this man for far too long. And so she escapes to this cottage that was left to her by her great aunt. And it happens to be the Weyward cottage. And she doesn't know much about her great aunt because it's her father's side of the family, and her father died when she was very young. So she is kind of going through this house and finding out about her great aunt, who is Violet, another character that we are following the perspective of. Violet, at the point in her life that we follow, she is a 16-year-old girl in 1940s England, which is right during World War II, and she is an odd girl. Her father is raising her and her brother alone. Her mom died, and she doesn't really know why. She thinks it was during Graham's birth. That's her brother. Did I say that? Her brother's name is Graham. Sorry, all over the place. But she doesn't know much about her mom and wants to find out more. Her father, like I said, thinks that Violet is very odd. She likes bugs and insects and animals and feels a connection to them. And obviously her dad is like, that's weird. If you keep showing these weird tendencies, I'm going to send you off to a boarding school. So we're dealing with that. And then the third perspective we are following is Altha Weyward, and this is back in 1619, and there's a witch trial on her. And she is accused of killing her ex-best friend's husband. Why I say ex-best friend is because her mother was accused of killing her best friend's mother. Is this all making sense? And so Grace, the best friend of Altha, couldn't be best friends with Altha anymore because Grace's dad believed that Altha's mom killed Grace's mom. Seeing where I'm going with this? Sorry if I'm being way too confusing and giving you too much information. But what I am gathering from the 1619 narrative is that people are scared of the healing that Altha and her mother can do or can't do, and they're accusing them of witchcraft. So it's interesting so far. I am curious to see what Kate finds out about her great aunt, who is Violet, and I'm curious to see how those two narratives kind of come together, and then what Altha has to do with all of this, besides being like the matriarch of this Weyward family. So I'm enjoying it so far, looking forward to the next third, and I will jump back on here when I'm at that point. So I think I forgot to update you when I was 2/3 of the way through, but I did indeed finish Weyward, and I'm a bit indifferent to this book. There were things I really liked and things I didn't like, and I think that chalks up to not a great book. I mean, like, if I can feel this indifferent about it, that means I didn't like it, right? So, let's see. There was supposed to be this big reveal, I thought, of how these three narratives, these three perspectives were all brought together, and I thought it'd be bigger than what it actually was, so that was a bit of a disappointment. I also just didn't appreciate how the female empowerment had to stem from misogyny and abuse. I just would have loved to see some female empowerment that didn't come from that, and that's all of the female empowerment came from. Misogyny and abuse. Like, every single storyline had it, and that was a little overdone. I also, yeah, I just felt indifferent. The one thing I did like was the writing. There were some passages that I highlighted, or didn't actually highlight, but I copied into my reading journal that I really, really loved, but ultimately fell a little flat. So I think the first third was super great, and then at about like the halfway point I just was like, where are we going with this? Oh yeah, the fact that they're witches, that's it? Okay, cool. So I don't know, I think I ended up giving it a 3.5 star just because of the writing. And I mean, the story was okay, it was there, it just didn't do much for me. And again, the fact that we couldn't have any sort of pride in women without a man doing something to them to get that pride out of it, if that makes sense. Wow. I have been filming this video for too long. You maybe don't think that, but the clips are all over the place. Anyway, okay, so finished another book, and we will jump into the next one. I am almost 40% of the way through The Maid's Diary, and I was reading it last night and couldn't stop at the third mark. So I'm a little bit farther than a third of the way through The Maid's Diary by Laura Ann White, and I am liking it so far. It is a murder mystery, and in the prologue we know exactly what the murder entails. We just don't know who it involves, which is kind of fun, because then we go back in time before the murder and follow a few different characters. Obviously one of them or multiple of them are involved in the murder, but we just don't know how, and we don't know who. And that's very interesting, because I'm enjoying trying to follow along and decide who I think is the murderer / who was even murdered, because we don't even know that. So very cool. I also really like, it's called The Maid's Diary for a reason. We get one of the maid's perspectives of these two very financially well-off women and couples, and she's their maid and she loves to snoop, and we get really inside of her brain. She is in therapy for this addiction to snooping, and her therapist has recommended that she writes a diary, and so we get to read her diary, and it's very exciting. I feel like there's going to be some sort of like the maid is manipulating our thoughts and like we don't actually know what's going on, kind of like Verity kind of thing. So I'm interested to see what's going on, but it's just still a little bit slow. I wish there was some more fast-paced things. The only thing that's keeping me reading is because I know already what happened at the end, and I want to know how the storyline gets to that point. So I'm enjoying it. Yes, it is good. I just wish it could be a bit more fast-paced, I guess, because I already know what happens. I just want to get there faster, if that makes sense. So I'll maybe check in one more time, or we might just be at the end of the book when I see you next. I am about 70% of the way through The Maid's Diary, and it's getting more exciting, definitely. I think when I first updated you, I thought it was maybe a bit slow. I definitely think I know where it's going, but I might be completely wrong. I feel like with mysteries and thrillers, they always know how to twist something at the very end and completely change everything you thought was correct. Let's see. I definitely had an inkling about The Maid that I was right on. I wasn't right in the way I thought, but there was this big reveal, and now we know. Well, now I'm so confused because there are a lot of characters at play here, and we still don't know who's dead. I mean, I think we know who's dead, but it was almost... Nope, I'm not going to say much anymore. I don't want to obviously be too spoilery, and so I'm just going to say it's getting to a point where I just need to figure out how everything happened, who it happened to, who did the happening, who did the deed, and so I might just zoom through this last 30%. Yeah, I still don't think it'll be a super great book for me. Like, it's not going to be 5 stars. It might not even be 4 stars. And so for me, just doesn't really seem like it would fit on the Goodreads Choice nominee list. And so I wonder what other people thought about it, and I will be interested now to, I know the results are already up, and so I would be interested to see how many people voted for this one in particular. I know you can see all of the votes across the 2 rounds of voting, so I'll be interested to see where all 5 of these books rank in the final ratings. Anyway, I'm going to finish this book and I'll come back on with my final thoughts. I finished The Maid's Diary. We're gonna try to film this clip while the kids are in the bath. We shall see if it works. So, The Maid's Diary was the slowest, most drawn out thriller I feel like it could possibly be. And I think the fact that it started out with us knowing about the murder made it even worse, because you knew what was gonna happen, and so you were just slogging through all of these perspectives to try to get to the end. I definitely called the ending, most of it. There was one little piece that I didn't see coming, but I saw most of it from a mile away. So it wasn't the greatest. I am gonna end up giving it 2.5 stars. Toward the end of the video, I'm gonna look at where all of these ranked in the top 20 of the Goodreads finals to see. But I don't think, if I'm remembering correctly, The Maid's Diary made it to top 10, so I'm not surprised. It was good enough that I wasn't not gonna finish it, but just wasn't an awesome thriller. A thriller needs to be like innovative in order for me to really love it, and this just wasn't. So that's another book done for this vlog, and let's move on to the next one. I am now a third of the way through Evil Eye. So this book is about a young-ish mom who is Palestinian American. She has 2 daughters, a husband, and is also an art teacher at a college. And she is really struggling with life right now. She feels like she's not happy and doesn't really know how to achieve that happiness. She feels very stuck in being a mother and the cultural expectations that are put upon her from her family, and how Palestinian American women are supposed to behave. And so she's really struggling. I think she has some depression, and then is also just struggling with mom guilt, which I really relate to. I feel like as the mom, I'm supposed to always be there for my kids. And so sometimes I even ask my husband to watch the kids when I go do something. And it's like, I shouldn't have to ask my husband to watch them. He should watch them too. And so there's some cases of that in here. Yara wants to go on a trip and she asks her husband to watch the kids, and he's like, I can't do that. I can't take time away from my job to do that. And so it's just this expectations of mothers, and especially for Yara, women in the Palestinian American community are supposed to submit to their husbands and take care of their children. It's almost it's almost a crazy thing that she works. Even like her husband says to her, I let you have a job, so you should be happy. And so that's a little frustrating. And so now what is going on, Yara had an altercation at work where she called one of her colleagues a racist because her colleague asked where she was born, and she was like, I was born in New York City. You are a racist for thinking and automatically assuming that I was born elsewhere because of the color of my skin. And she actually got in trouble for calling that woman a racist, and is now in some like therapy / remediation with someone so that she can keep her job at the college that she works at. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, I feel for Yara. I have been in similar situations. Not that I have maybe the cultural expectations put on me, but I definitely feel mom guilt sometimes, and so I can relate to her in that way. Anyway, I'm gonna go keep reading. Okie doke, I am around page 200, 210 or something like that in Evil Eye, so about 2/3. And it's okay. It's just like very repetitive with poor Yara not being able to do anything she wants, and her husband just like not understanding why she wants to do anything different with her life or anything she wants to do. So that's a little frustrating. I think we might be getting, whoa, mood change. Theodore turned off the lights. Mood change, says Mabel. I think we might be getting to kind of a breakthrough. Yara had been going to some therapy, and she finally decided she could open up in therapy, but then for reasons I can't say, she couldn't go to her therapist anymore. And so she started writing a journal, and in her journal she's writing letters to her mom. And so I think something's gonna happen where there was something with her mom. Hey, Mabel just took my bookmark out. That will be a reveal to us that maybe made Yara feel like she needs to be like her mom, do what her mom did. Yeah, we'll see. For now, it's feeling just like a really middle of the road, like nothing happens. It's just about Yara's life, and I appreciate that because I feel like I said earlier, I resonate with Yara as a mother, and feeling mom guilt sometimes. So anyway, I'm gonna check in with you once I finish Evil Eye. I finished Evil Eye, and let me tell you, the last third of this book completely changed my mind about my overall thoughts. Sorry, you can see the Christmas tree lights. Now you can see everything. My glasses have the worst reflections. Okay, is that better? We've got mood lighting. So, like I was saying, the last third of Evil Eye completely changed my thoughts on the overall book. I think my last update, I had said it was really repetitive, which it was. It was repetitive, but those are the emotions that someone with mental illness goes through. They keep feeling like they're not enough. They keep feeling sad. They keep feeling like they can't get happy. And they keep feeling like other people are out to get them. Or not even that, but like the fact that Yara's husband kept saying these things over and over and over again, just like weighed on her even more and more and more. And so I was okay with the repetitiveness after I thought of it that way. What else? I also had said that we were just about to get kind of a big reveal with letters to her mother, and that did happen. There was definitely some trauma in Yara's past that she needed to work through and added to her depression, I think, which I was really glad that we got a look into that and how that affected her as a mother, dealing with the trauma that her mother had kind of inflicted on her, even though her mom also was kind of abused. So, and overall, I think the fact that Evil Eye worked for me so well was because I related to Yara so well. I still struggle with depression. I am on medication for depression and anxiety, but especially after I had Theo, I had a very low phase in my life. It was COVID at the time, and also postpartum depression and my regular depression all just like compounded, and I was really low. And the way Etaf Room was able to write Yara's lows just like really resonated with me. And yeah, I was almost in tears toward the end of this book because it just, I mean, Yara took it into her own hands, got the help she needed, which was really important, and realized that being depressed is not just something you can fix easily. You have to work at it every day. There are different pieces to the puzzle that could help you in your healing. Like it might be medication and a therapist, or it might be some self-regulating tools and medication, or it's just like you have to find the right pieces that work for you in order to manage your depression. And even if you haven't managed, you might have low days, and I've got that too. So I don't know, I really, really loved it. I loved the character of Yara, and I loved how Etaf Rum, I've been saying it wrong this whole time, I think it's Rum, how Etaf Rum wrote mental illness so well. So I ended up giving this 5 stars. I was surprised, but I think it will just stay with me for a very long time, and that staying factor, that resonating factor, means a lot for me in my star rating. So that's how it got 5 stars. And yeah, this might be the best of the vlog, but I've got one more book, and I'll check in with you once we've started reading that one. I'm exactly 100 pages into the Unmaking of June Farrow, and I'm really enjoying it. I haven't read a time travel book in a while, but I think I do really enjoy time travel tropes. So I should say we are following our titular character June, and she just lost her grandmother. Her grandmother died to what we kind of think is like dementia, but also like going crazy kind of thing, like going insane, because June says in one of her narrations to us, the reader, that all of the Farrow women kind of go through this phase where they start seeing things that aren't really there, and so she knows it's going to happen to her. And then it starts happening to June, and she tells some of her friends who are aware of this insanity, this like mental illness, what they think. And then one of her grandmother's friends actually tells her, like, you need to trust this. and if a door shows up, go through it. And June is like, I've actually seen a door a few times in the last year, and now a door has shown up and June has gone through it, and she is meeting someone new to her but already knows her. And like, this time travel element is so interesting because this man already knows who she is, but he knows about her time traveling because he's like, you don't know who I am yet, you haven't met me yet. And she's like, no, I have no clue what's going on. So he's like, oh, June, okay, you need to figure this out. So that's where I am right now. She is realizing that she had a presence in this past time, and it's gonna be good how she figures out who this man is. And I think it's definitely a romantic connection, so I'm enjoying that. What? Okay, so I have today to finish this book, so I will hopefully update you just a little bit later today when I am at 2/3. Okie doke, I'm 2/3 into the Unmaking of June Farrow, and I'm still really enjoying myself. Like I said, June has jumped back in time, and she's trying to figure out what her life was like beforehand, and people are trying to fill her in on things, but she's also remembering things, and it's very exciting. There's also a murder involved, and possibly June and her husband were a part of it or associated with it somehow, and so that's very thrilling too. It's fun because we're learning along with June who she was in that time period, and yeah, it just really makes us feel like we're a part of the story because we're learning what she's learning. So that's where I'm at. I'm lucky that this is so easily readable, and it's a really good listen too. I enjoy the narrator, and yeah, that's where I'm at. And I've got about 100 or so pages left, so I'll be able to come back at the end of this book, tell you my final thoughts, and then recap the whole video. I did it! I finished The Unmaking of June Farrow. Didn't even remove my bookmark, but I basically finished it in one day. It was really, really good. I liked it. I feel like my brain isn't smart enough to wrap around all of the time traveling things and like how June Farrow tried to break this curse that her family had around time travel. And so that was all a little bit confusing to me, but I did ultimately love the story and how June wanted to do anything she could to try to help the women in her family. So I really, really liked it. I think I'm gonna do 4.5 stars. It's not like quite 5-star, but I really, really did like it. So we need to do a recap, and I don't even have all the books with me because I'm a mess. But we started off in the romance category with In the Likely Event, and I gave that one 5 stars. Then we moved on to Weyward. That was a 3.5 star. That was nominated in the fiction and, or no, the debut and historical fiction categories. Sorry, lighting is just bad. I'm gonna move. Gonna move. Sure, that's a little better. Then we got in the mystery thriller category with The Maid's Diary. Gave that one a 2.5. Evil Eye by Utah Froome in the fiction category, I gave 5 stars. And lastly, The Unmaking of June Farrow, either 4 or 4.5. I'm leaning toward 4.5 because it was just so readable and an enjoyable story. And that was in the fantasy category, which I know some people were upset about that being in the fantasy category because it's not fantasy. It takes place in this world. The only element of fantasy is time travel. And yeah, that's more magical realism. I could understand why people are upset by that. Anyway, we're just going to quickly look at the best books of 23 on my Goodreads app. I have looked kind of, but like not in depth and not where any of these have ranked. Okay, so I see the winner of The fiction category was Yellowface with 200,000 votes. What was next? Hello Beautiful, then The Wishing Game. I'm glad The Wishing Game got third, and Tom Lake got fourth. Where did Evil Eye end up? Wow. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. 13th place. I'm a little sad about that. I maybe would have voted for it, honestly. It just hit me. I don't know if it was how I related to the main character with mental illness and depression and mom guilt, but I maybe would have voted for it. Maybe. And what I did vote for was Yellowface, and it won. So, okay, cool. How do I get to the next? The next category, Best Historical Fiction. I know Weyward won. And I guess I haven't read any of these others. Well, okay, I did read River Sing Me Home, and I do think that that was better than Weyward, in my opinion. But I also really have high hopes for The Secret Book of Flora Lee. That's one I hope to read next year, possibly. And maybe Banyan Moon. I've heard a lot of good things about that. So, I don't know. Weyward winning, especially in 2 categories. I saw it won both of its categories. At least I read one of the winners, right? That's kind of cool. So, Mystery Thriller. Okay, The Housemaid's Secret won the Mystery Thriller category, which is the second in The Housemaid. I guess it's just a duology, it's a series. I'm surprised. I kind of wish not a sequel would have won. More like, none of this is true. And where did The Maid's Diary? The River We Remember got, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. Didn't make it into the top 10, but it got 11. And, okay, yeah, The Maid's Diary got the lowest, which I'm okay about. Sorry, no offense to Laura Than White, but I didn't like your book. Okay, it was just too predictable and slow. Romance, I read In the Likely Event. Do you think that that got last place too? Happy Place won, of course it did. Emily Henry always wins, and I'm glad that Allie Hazelwood's Love Theoretically got second, and I'm glad that Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez got third. That's a top 3 that I'm very happy with. I love those. I'm surprised Romantic Comedy got 5th, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, wow. In the Likely Event beat out Hello Stranger. I loved Hello Stranger. I think I must be in the minority, but okay. Romantasy, I already know that Fourth Wing won. Oh wow, and oh my gosh, look at that contrast. Almost 400,000 votes for Fourth Wing, and then only 33,000 votes for Assistant to the Villain. I know a lot of people wanted The Crowns of Nyaxia to beat out Fourth Wing, but didn't happen. Okay, here we go to the fantasy category. I'm interested to see where June Farrow ranked in here. Hellbent won, and then Brandon Sanderson got second. Samantha Shannon got third. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It got 10th. Okay, I'm surprised it made it into the top 10. I didn't remember going through that top 10 and making it, and June Farrow making it in, but okay. I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fantasy reader, and I know that fantasy people were upset with it being in there, so I shouldn't say much. Science fiction, I really don't care, but TJ Klune won, which is interesting. I also feel like that's not like the most sci-fi-y of sci-fi. Horror, I also don't care, but of course Stephen King won. Sure, fine. Young adult fiction, I really want to read Divine Rivals, and it like doubled the votes of second place. So yeah, I want to try that one out for 2024, definitely. Young adult fiction, what won? Oh, Check and Mate won. Allie Hazelwood won. I have it on my shelves, and I definitely want to read that. I'm sure it'll be great. Okay, and debut novel. Weyward won. I mean, okay, I really liked Amelia Hart's writing, and so definitely for her writing, and if this is her debut novel, I get that she won. But I don't know. I don't know what could have won it, I guess, in its place. Let me see the votes. 45,000 for Weyward and 32,000 for Inkblood's Sister Scribe. I don't know. I just wasn't as happy with Weyward as I could have been. Okay, oh my goodness, my battery's flashing. I think we've covered all the categories, so I'm just gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching this crazy long video and my Goodreads experience reading all of the nominees that I owned. Like this video on your way out, consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more bookish and bullet journaling content from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!